Greetings. Back with another one. Now, growing up, I was a die-hard Power Ranger fan, and very fond memories of the show. But one of the things I really loved about the show was the character Trini Kwan, played by the late actress Thuy. She was my favorite, character in the show, and also I love the Green Ranger as well, played by the late Jason David Frank. I'm gonna do another video talk about him too. But in this video, Walter St. John, well, not Walter Jones, excuse me, Walter Jones, who played the Black Ranger, who was Zach on the show, is doing a little tribute talking about Twee, and I just wanted to react to it. I remember seeing this, a couple of months back, but I want to capture it and just talk about the memories that I had, just watching the show, and also about Twee and Trini, ultimately about the character and stuff like that, and what the show and what she meant to me just as a character, just watching it as a kid. So, how you mean?
She wasn't here to experience what we have with you guys, you guys would have loved her now. If she was here, it's like 30 years later since the beginning of the show, and you guys are now between the ages of 5 and 45, and man, just the experience of having you guys in our lives, it would have made her so happy, and she would have made you so happy. Her energy was just so beautiful.
She definitely was beautiful, just by the looks of her.
All right, guys.
That's what caught my eye even as a young age.
About my dear friend Thuy. Man, what a beautiful person she was. I mean, what a beautiful human being. And it's funny because Thuy wasn't our original Yellow Ranger. Originally, the first Yellow Ranger was Audrey Dubois, who had a different style. She was a little more tomboyish. She was a major martial artist, so she had a hard-hitting style. Bop, 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 bop. I mean, she could lay somebody out. You know what I'm saying?
I remember seeing that unseen footage of her.
The pilot in the show got picked up. We got on the series, and Audrey wasn't there. It's like, where did Audrey go? Well, apparently she had some problems with wanting to renegotiate the contract, so they hired Thuy. I just remember when I first met her, I was like, she's so nice. She's so pretty. What a beautiful person. And she was sweet, and when she spoke, she was very proper. And I just was like, man, this girl, she's really cool. She wasn't the most amazing martial artist. She was learning.
What I loved about, Trini right off the back is that, of course, Billy being, the egghead, the brainiac of the bunch, very scientific guy. What I loved about her is that whenever Billy would say something that was very, very technical, very scientific, Trini was like the only character that really knew what he meant directly, and she always had to translate, his scientific terms into a term in a way that the rest of the Rangers can understand. She always knew what he was talking about. Billy would say something, he'd say, well, Billy means this. So even as a kid, that was something that I loved. It was kind of this synergy that Trini had with Billy's character, which was pretty cool. I've always liked that about her. And of course, Thuy, she was from Vietnam, Saigon, and at a young age, her and her family, they left Vietnam because obviously all of the war and stuff like that. Vietnam was very, very turbulent in those days, and I think her and her family fled the country by boat. And I remember she was in the interview, and she had Austin St. John sitting beside her. Austin St. John, obviously the Red Ranger, and she was talking about her upbringing and that pretty much just that trip from going from Saigon all the way to the I don't know if she actually went all the way to the States. She probably made a few stops elsewhere, but I remember she was talking about she had got sick one time, and she was kind of joking about it, she had got sick one time, but then all of the the people on the boat just wanted to throw her overboard and all that stuff. And I remember her kind of joking about that. But yeah, man, coming out of Saigon, I think they call it Ho Chi Minh City now in Vietnam. But yeah, man, just coming up with that upbringing and that type of life, and pretty much sailing all the way to freedom, I guess you can say, man. But it's just a very inspiring story about her.
She had more of a kind of a Tai Chi style, which was like this energy. Was
And that's another thing
great
too.
Power
Like
Rangers
she,
because,
had the
like,
she
it
Trini
softened
was the
us
kung
up.
fu.
With her energy,
You know,
it made it a perfect fit because now we weren't like these hardcore, just martial art fighters. We were like kind of like this. She gave us a spirit. She gave us this genuine, like, this love. I think it was perfect. I remember we used to sit on the set and we would laugh, and I used to play with her hair. I loved her hair. It was so pretty, long black hair, and I would just, she liked her hair to be played with, so I played with her hair. And she would, like, you know, she was cool. We had a great connection, her and I. Over the years, we had gone through a lot of different things, you know, our success, the whole thing we did at Universal Studios. She did her thing there, and she had grown so much from the time she started the show to that point where the show, it was a big hit. What we had in common, her and I, is
And of course, you know, the Power Rangers, the original series of Power Rangers, it actually came it originally, like all of the original footage that you see from the original Power Rangers, as far as the footage when they morphed, and you know, you see like the Megazord fights and the putty fights and stuff like that. That footage originally came from Japan. In Japan, Power Rangers was called Zood Rangers, and you know, who, like, all, I mean, the character names and stuff like that. I mean, even the actress who played Rita's character, Rita Repulsa, well, her name was Bandora in the Japanese version, played by Machiko Soga. Machiko Soga. Yeah, she played Rita slash Bandora in the Japanese version. And for a while, YouTube had, you know, all of the episodes of Zoot Ranger in the on it, and I just went through them and I binge watched through all of them, and I also binge watched through Died Ranger 2, which was the next series after the Zoot Ranger, and they were great. But that's what Power Rangers originally was built on. It was built on the Super Sentai creation that came out of Japan.
we were both ethnic. I was the first black superhero. She was the first Vietnamese superhero that I know of. We were both very proud of that, and I was proud of her because she was such a great role model for so many girls.
Exactly,
so
the
many
hip hop
people.
keto, that
When
was
we
pretty
decided to
cool.
leave the show
Seeing
because
that when I
of the
was a kid.
contracts. That was very difficult for us, especially for us being in that position. You know, like, here I am, the first black superhero on live action TV, and she's the first Vietnamese superhero on live action TV. A woman that kind of held a lot of responsibility. We didn't want to walk away. We wanted to stand up for ourselves, but it was dangerous because, well, what are they going to do? And at the end of the day, you know, they changed the cast, and we had to walk away from the show. I just recall having conversations with her, knowing that it was so important to her, the role that she had taken on and what she wanted to provide.
Yeah, that was devastating for me as a fan of hers. You know, obviously being a kid, you don't, like I said, what Walter was talking about, you know, contracts and stuff. Like I said, because they're actors at the end of the day, and they had contracts with Sabin, I guess. And you know, being a little kid, you know, watching these shows, I mean, you never know what's going on. You just notice that here are these characters, these actors, and then now they're gone. Yeah, Thuy, Walter, and Austin, they left due to contract and stuff like that. Obviously, I didn't know that back then. I discovered that, you know, much later in life. But yeah, but I was devastated when you know, when she in particular left, because I was just so in awe of her character. I just really loved her. And you know, of course, as you get older and you find out, you know, what was the reason behind it, and of course, you know, Walter was talking about it right here.
For the fans, and I felt the same way, but we both stood up at the same time.
I mean, Aisha was a cool character
helped
too,
each other
played
through it.
by
In the
Karen
process of
Ashley.
this
She was
leading
cool
the
too. I
show,
liked her
we
as well.
started doing other things. We were going to do a movie, and we started doing videos and stuff. Like, I had a hip hop video called Hip Hop Keto, or Hip Hop You Can't Stop. She had like a
I remember
martial
seeing
arts
that too.
video,
Her
Austin had a
her and
martial arts
Austin
video.
made an appearance in
We all
that.
assisted each other in its video. So I remember in my video, she came to my set. I was teaching these kids. I had like 11 or 12 kids. I'm teaching them how to dance, and I'm going through this whole thing with the dance routine. Her and Austin came to my set, and they visited. And I just remember when she walked into the room, all the kids were like, oh my God, it's her. Like, they were so excited to see her, and her energy was so sweet and so giving and so kind, but so confident as well. I remember at one point she, in my video, said, hey guys, you wanna, see me do something? So she did the splits, because she had a great extension. She did the
I
splits,
definitely
and
remember that.
Woo! Like, that was cool. And she did it really slow, and it was very cool. And The kids all loved it. And
And
the Power Rangers is
she also did
so
that high kick too with that
beautiful.
extension. She
It's
also did that
interesting
too. I remember
because
that.
it kind of took us 28 years to get back around and pay homage to her. You know, we should have paid homage to her a long time ago, but at the same time, you guys were kids. You guys were little, and it would have been difficult for you to understand and digest what had happened to her. It was a really sad.
And yeah, and she died. I believe it was 2001. I believe I was around what 14, 15 at that time, and I didn't know that she died until years later because she went on to do other things. She appeared in two films in particular that I can remember. It was one of the Naked Gun films. It was a film that she did with it was like starring Leslie Nielsen, I believe, and she appeared in another film, the Crow movie, not the first one, but the second one. I think it was called City of Angels. She appeared in that, and I didn't really see her much after that. And of course, after what happened, and then I discovered what happened to her and stuff like that. And but yeah, I'll let Austin. I mean, keep calling him Austin Walter. Let him, keep giving the
Story to
floor.
lose her. And I just remember thinking I was so proud of her because she had left the show and now she was working on a big feature film, The Crow. And it went really well. She was well received. Everybody loved her character. It was dark. She wasn't like a superhero in it. She was kind of a dark character, which was it played against who she really was. It was great because
Such a departure from Trini, man. Such a departure.
which was very cool. I was excited for her. And I
remember
seeing
seeing her
after,
too.
after she had filmed the movie and sitting down and talking to her about her experience and what it was like to work with the different actors she was working with and to be on such a big project. I was just so excited for all the things that were gonna come for her afterwards. A bunch of the people from the set, The Crow, they had a big party and I went there and I met all these cool people and like so much great energy and I was just so proud of her, so proud of her. So to go back to Power Rangers Once and Always, 28 years later, and be able to pay homage to her was amazing. It made my heart happy because for so long,
Yeah, I haven't seen that film either. They recently they made another Power Ranger film not too long ago, and the Yellow Ranger in that, like, because obviously Thuy is no longer with us. So what they did in the story, I guess like Thuy had Trini had a daughter, and I guess that she was the new Yellow Ranger in that. I didn't see it, but I heard some good things about it. But yeah, that's how they wrote the story. They had to take Trini out and put her daughter in there. So I guess that's how they played that one out. I still haven't seen it yet though.
I missed her. And I missed that she wasn't here to experience what we have with you guys. I mean, you guys would have loved her now. Like, if she was here, it's like 30 years later since the beginning of the show, and you guys are now between the ages of like 5 and 45, and man, just the experience of having you guys in our lives, it would have made her so happy, and she would have made you so happy. It was great to go back to Power Rangers Once and Always and be able to pay homage to her and kind of like pass the torch on to somebody that represented her. And I think that was really honorable, and I think it went really well, and I'm just really grateful that we were able to do that, and I miss her. In the beginning of the Power Rangers, when we had Audrey Dubois, I think we were a little more aggressive. We kind of had a bully vibe in a way. I mean, that was only against the bad guys, but still, when she joined us, she gave us this spirituality.
I wonder if Bulk and Skull were
It made
originally
everything,
part of
softened
that.
us. It made us a team that had heart. It was like she was the voice of reason, and she was also very smart and could decipher everything that Billy had to say. Because
Yeah,
Billy would
see,
say
yeah.
something, and we look at her, and she would go, "What he means is this." We're like, "All right, cool, thank you."
Yeah, so that's what I liked about it.
But I think it was her heart that added to the Power Rangers and really gave us, made us total. I think that Thuy Trang playing Trini was a big part of our success. She rounded us out and she gave us additional diversity. When you looked at the show and you saw that there were so many different people that were friends, then you kind of went, I can have friends of all walks of life. I mean, I can have a black friend, I can have a Vietnamese friend, I can have a white friend, I can have a smart friend, I can have a dorky friend, I can have a valley girl friend, I can have any kind of friends that I want, and we can be tough and be an amazing team. As interestingly as it
Exactly, back in those days, the early, '90s, I mean, I guess you could say the Sabin crew, they were kind of, I don't want to say ahead of their time, but they very much wanted a diverse, cast to play this, which is cool, But like I said, I was born in the '80s, so by the time I came up, our country was very much, you know, more chill, and everybody was getting along with each other anyway. So for to have that different collection of people, different backgrounds and stuff, it's always cool to see and stuff like that. Even though as a kid I really didn't take much to it, because I was always raised to be accepting of everybody and stuff like that. But growing up watching films that were produced in Asian countries and stuff like that, I've always taken to that culture anyway. With martial arts and stuff like that, and learning about the actors over there and stuff like that, and just that culture and that way of life. So it was even though it was foreign, it didn't feel foreign to me, because I never looked at people, based on their ethnicity or their race. I've never did that anyway. But it was cool, that the people that Sabin wanted to have that type of cast where everybody can, I guess, can be represented and something like that. So it was cool for them to do that. I don't know if Sabin was making all the decision or whoever, but whatever the studio was in charge. But it was cool to see that.
It might sound. I think what Twee was she was the Bruce Lee of Power Rangers. Everybody was orphan fighting. Hey,
Like I said, one of my favorite episodes was the episode.
Twee, we miss
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So if you want to know what Thuy Trang was really like as a person, she was very close to the character she played on the show as Trini. But
That's what
there was
everybody
an
in the cast
episode called
says.
No Clowning Around. She had taken in this little girl, and the little girl got turned into cardboard. I think it was Pineapple Clown that did it.
Yeah, I remember the
The energy
episode.
she had with this little girl, it's like she adopted her as a little sister. She was like that, like at heart. She was very caring about people. She was like very kind. She always treated everybody with respect. I don't remember anybody not liking her. She was just the sweetest person. I've always felt that way about her.
Yeah, see that's all the Japanese footage right here. And then of course further along the way, then that's when America they started making their own footage of Power Rangers, because the Power Rangers is still ongoing. That's the crazy thing about it. All these years, and I mean, I stopped probably watching around Power Rangers in space, but it's been going on for so long. Like I said, man, just the choreography. Like I said, just the imagination, man. Just the magic and the wonder. That's just what I love, man. It really, really keeps your inner child alive, man. And I just love the old effects, man. I prefer the old stuff over the CGI and stuff like that. But yeah, man, just good old tweet, man. And like I said, man, I was, man, trying to get a good time stamp of her. But like I said, man, I was devastated when I found out about what happened to her. I mean, like I said, it was 2001. I didn't find out until like probably a few more years down the line, where David Yost, who was Billy on the cast, and Amy Jo Johnson, who played Kimberly, they were close with Twee, and I remember seeing something on TV where they held like a funeral service for her, or stuff like that, and they were talking about it, and that's how I found out, and I was just shocked. I really was. And Twee, she was also good friends with a woman by the name of Angela Rockwell and Rockwood. I'm messing these names up, but Angela Rockwood, I believe her name was, and Twee was in a car accident with Angela and then one other person. I think it was three of them, and then they were either on their way to or from, because I think Angela she was getting married or something like that, and I think they were on their way to like a rehearsal or somewhere something, and they were on one of the freeways in California, and they had an accident. Because I remember Angela, she was talking to Catherine and the other Yellow Ranger, I forget her name. Those two have a YouTube channel too, and they, you know, was talking to Angela about it. And Angela was talking about that tragedy that she experienced, where they had an accident and she got ejected from the car, and she made it and the other girl made it, but unfortunately Thuy didn't. And yeah, it was just so devastating to hear. And you know, Angela, she was confined to a wheelchair, but she still made it out with her life and stuff like that. And just hearing about that tragedy, it was just very, very devastating. And I can imagine what she, was going through, her and the other girl that was a part of that accident. But yeah, man, I just wanted to, just let all the, my fellow geeks out there who may be, a Power Ranger fan just like me. I still need to get my Power Morpher. I still don't have a Power Morpher. When I was a kid, I had, the figures, the action figures, and I had the gloves that made the chopping noises. And I also had the Green Ranger dagger too. I had that as well. But I really need to. I really want my Power Morpher. I still need to get one. I want the Saber-tooth Tiger one. But yeah, man. I mean, I just tweet Trang, man. It just gone so soon, man. And she was so young, and I've dealt with probably the toughest loss I've ever faced in my family back in 2022. My cousin who lost her life, and she was only 30 years old. So dealing with loss, especially when it comes, when it's close to home, is it's something that's terrible for all families to deal with. So yeah, my condolence goes out to Thuy Trang and her family. And yeah, man, Thuy lives, man. She lives in us all, man. Anybody who's a Power Ranger fan, anybody who remembers her work and stuff like that, and anybody who's of my generation or even younger, who may go back and may watch the originals and see her doing what she did best, which was bringing the Trini character and making it her own, just like all the other Rangers, and I mean, like I said, I loved her, but I loved all of them, man. I mean, just what they did with those characters, Austin and Billy, and I mean David and Jason and Walter and Amy, and even the characters that played Bulk and Skull, man. They brought a lot of laughter. They were obviously the comic relief of the show, man. Just a lot of laughs, man. So I mean, everybody who's a part of the the Power Ranger project, who really put it all together, and also the people in Japan who really got it going. Yeah, man. Thuy Tran, rest in peace. Gone, but not forgotten. At least not in my mind. You're not. Yeah, man. 31 cents added. Another one for the archives. It's your brother Bleak signing out. And as always, us. See you next time.